Good evening.
Hey.
And we are
You're not
live
wrong.
here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicente. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard, and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways. Sitting down with the designers to play the games, reviewing the games, interviewing them, talking about character studies, but so much of what we do is informed by actually just playing the games, just sitting down, like I said, with those designers, with each other, at home, on stream, playing games. And tonight we are here in our fanciest dress for the awards gala of the favorite games that we played this year in 2022. These are games overwhelmingly that physically released this year or near this year, or just we played a lot this year, but not necessarily. They could be from previous years. They could be lingering and about to release in physical soon, but they are games we played at some point in this year. That was the requirement for our list. I'll meet my lovely co-host in just 1 minute, but we did eliminate kind of some of the overlap that we had in our list. So you may hear us talk about why multiple of us loved a game, but we each have a unique list of 5 that we have put together of the favorite games that we played this year at our home table or somewhere else. And we are excited to have you here with us. If you have questions about the games, let us know. Also, in 2 weeks in 2023, we will be talking about the games we are most excited about for next year as well. But let's meet, like I said, my lovely co-host. Let's start with Kegan. Kegan, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do?
Hi, I'm Kegan. I overwhelmingly create a bizarre energy in the studio today.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a game designer and I stream here. I feel like if you're watching this, you probably know who I am at this point.
Awesome. Your hair looks amazing today, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead
It
and say
does.
that.
Thanks. I don't know what I did. It looks great today, though. I'm going to be honest, it did this by itself.
Amazing.
And somebody whose hair looks great every day is Sarah. Sarah Frank. Sarah, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online if you want to be found?
Yeah. Hi. Hello. I am Osiris Franco. I'm a cult leader and high-level monk here on Plus One EXP. I do a variety of ttrpg content here and across several other amazing communities, playing and running games and having just the best time doing it. And that is all I want to say about that.
Awesome. We are going to make some wild, we're going to, sorry, make some observations about this year also too towards the end of our stream. We're going to dive straight into the meat of it. If you played one of the games, we'd love to hear in the chat, whether you're watching here, on Twitch, over on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you're at, go ahead and type it in. We'd love to see it. Or in the comments later if you're watching, if you've played that game or if you haven't played any of the games we're talking about, we would love for you to tell us what your favorite moment at the table was this year, the game you love playing, the people you've loved playing with. We'd love to hear that. But without further ado, we're going to start things off with Kegan. Kegan, why don't you tell us one of your favorite games? Oh, also, like, unless one of these folks did, none of these are explicitly ranked or rated. These are all just 5 games we love playing. The order they are announced in is just the order they're announced in, because I definitely moved stuff around a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah, Kegan, why don't you start us off and tell us a little bit about your first game?
Yeah, my first game is Hack the Planet, Cyberpunk Forged in the Dark by Sam Joko Publishing. It's a massive tome. It's really cool art, really cool classes, and it asks the age-old question, what if you could hack a tornado and send it after Jeff Bezos? I've played truly so much of this game this year. I was just looking for a cyberpunk game to run with my home group and happened to come across it at my LGS, and we played easily 35 sessions, probably more than that. I don't think we kept great count of them or anything, but yeah, just a great game, lots of fun.
Do you have a core setting you were playing this game in that you know?
Oh yeah, I guess we were playing it in Blister City, my
Awesome.
upcoming Blister Punk setting guide.
Awesome. You were using it to play test your.
I was using
your
it to
home
play
setting.
test the upcoming setting guide for real though.
Awesome. I'm super excited about that. Sarah, why don't you start next and tell us about one of your favorite games this year?
Yeah, this isn't a game that came out this year, but it's one that I played this year, and that's An Extremis by Kegan. I mean, it's necromancers in space. What else do you really need to say? This game, it's based on the Lumen system by Spencer Campbell. The classes all feel incredibly unique and well written. You feel powerful, and yet using your powers has consequences that you have to balance as you move through the different adventures. But even though you're all dealing with concepts of death and how you deal with it, everyone feels so unique. And getting to play Solar Side just kind of heightened that for me, and being able to play my Death Bard it was a lot of fun, and was very exciting to feel overpowered and cool while still leaning into the narrative themes of, death in space. It was awesome. I freaking loved it.
I think every single player in this adventure absolutely had this as one of their top moments for the year. I know Sammy in the chat mentioned it. Also, we are learning how to use slideshows for the first time, and apparently you cannot use them with preview mode. It will just go back to the first slide. So sorry about that, but we do have the correct one up on the stream now. Yeah, this is great. And Sarah, this is like our first extended session, multi-session thing together. We had played a couple one-shots before that point, but it was an absolute blast. Mm-hmm. Because your character was my character's caretaker. I absolutely loved it, and it was a super good time. Go ahead.
So good. I was just gonna say, the getting to play it, because a lot of these games I only got to play one shot. This was the one game that I got to play through extended sessions, and getting to see how your characters level up and grow in the narrative is such a it was really satisfying for me to get to live in a system for a little while instead of just doing the one and done. And that it meant for something special. I mean, we were reunited in the sun, Tony.
I know. It was amazing. Great. I loved it. That we each had weird, dumb, random plans for reuniting, and your character still got the jump on mine. By the way, you will notice that we do talk about the games designed by other people who are here right now, or friends of ours. And if you feel like that's unfair, be our friend and come play games with us. I literally really don't know what to tell you.
I'm really nice and always looking for more friends. So
all right.
Also, dishonest to not include games by people I already like, because people I already like make good games.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the reasons I
don't
like
know what to
them.
do about
And
that.
so you just got a heads up on it. But one of my favorite games of this year was Death Grind Megastructure by Josh Hiddy. You can get it over in print at plus1exp.com. That's plus1exp.com. By the way, we'll have links to all of these in the show notes afterwards. I didn't put them there in advance to not tip off what we're doing because I'm smart like that. But Death Grind Megastructure is about post-humans living in a monolithic megastructure that wants to destroy them. This is a Blame-inspired RPG. It was the first game to reach print using our House Together We Go system. But more than anything, like I love the words that Josh writes. I played Vibe Check by Josh before this, and that's really where I fell in love with the cool stuff I got to do in their games. But I got to say, I ripped the bruised skin off the security eye and devoured the data underneath. And you don't get to say that in every game. It was super fun to play the different classes and see Josh's interpretation of this. And the brutalist like design using Lone Archivist pattern is just super, super good. So Death Grind Megastructure was one of my top games that I got a chance to play this year. Yeah. Sword Queen in the chat, Ray's talking about Josh does very good words. 100%. Josh has a standing thing that anytime Josh releases something, I will just print it because I like the word. So we have Into the Riverlands by Josh also, and 2 more games on slate for early this year with Josh too. So awesome. Coming right back around, Kegan, tell us about your next one.
Yeah, my next one is Himbos of Myth and Metal by Maxwell Lander. It's a queer, campy OSR game. It imagines a world where big tits, big thighs, big arms, and big feelings reign supreme. It's rules light. It's really innovative. It's impossible to read the book and not want to like stop what you're doing and immediately run it. And I think that's my favorite like in-moment game of playing an RPG, maybe ever, with Aaron King ripping the fucking sleeves off of a shirt.
We like,
Okay.
We had to stop. Like, I mean, like none of us, like, and Aaron was just deadpan while doing
Aaron
it.
Did not let us know it was going to happen.
Like was like I wore flannel today because I figured it'd be good for himbos. I'm like even telegraphed it and none of us saw it coming. It was absolutely amazing. Like I enjoyed that stream so much to the point when we were talking about who ran that stream a while ago, I literally was racking my brain to remember it, and it was me. I ran it. It was just so much fun. Himbos is absolutely phenomenal, and just like sold itself at PAX also too. Like people would just see it, see the art, see the title, and be like, I need that game. And so
yeah, it knows its market. It markets to its market really well. It's a really good game. Go get it.
Sarah, tell us about your next favorite game.
My next favorite is The Zone by Ralph D'Amico and Laughing Kaiju. Yeah, that's the word. This game, first of all, the online walkthrough and like the setup to play remotely with your friends was seamless, flawless. Best I've ever seen. So good. So easy to have, like, feel like you're all at the same table, but doing it virtually. Loved it. I loved setting up the characters and getting to see like their flaws and their phobias, and then leaning into those as you're traveling into the zone. Everybody chasing their like one true desire, and only one can have it. And I loved how that created this very like backstabby, but you have to help each other to kind of get through it. And the collaborative storytelling of it all was phenomenal. I'm not a huge horror fan. I get scared about things easily. I don't watch scary movies. I'm a wuss, but I loved The Zone. I loved the creepy vibes that it made. Everything felt cinematic and cool. It was very fun. I would love to play this again.
You have to watch Annihilation. You beat per beat, remade the movie with no knowledge of it.
None. I've never seen Annihilation. I saw the trailer and I was like, that looks cool, but it also looks too scary for me to ever observe with my eyes. And so as we're playing, Keegan's just like, you have seen this movie. And I'm like, I haven't. I don't know what's happening.
I
think that speaks to the game and how well designed it is. The fact that you can actually create like horror movies like through just the vibe of it and the prompts that you're hit with. It was very cool.
Yeah. I feel like Annihilation and The Zone is really good about creating a space where you can, like, Annihilation is not like gory or splatter. It's existential. It makes
Yeah.
you think. And the Zone does a lot of the same
Yeah.
thing. The character archetypes are incredibly well written. I actually have Raph lets people create in the system, so I have a twist, a set of cards I want to make for it coming soon. When I say soon, I mean sometime in the next 5 years, whenever I get around to doing it. But I am very excited about the Zone also too. Real Meat Castle in the chat says it's near the top of their gotta play in 2023 list.
Yeah, legitimately.
Yeah. And
Do
Kegan,
it.
stop harshing the fact that I can't do the slides because I have to wait until it is up before I shift over.
Okay.
Because I can only do it on the same screen. Like, it all has to be on the same screen at the same time.
That's so funny.
So next after the Zone, we've got my next favorite, which is Into the Blue Light. This is by Chris Bissett. It is an adventure for Morkborg. Chris writes singularly amazing adventures. Like, I love Chris's adventure writing. If you asked me who the best adventure writer in RPGs today was, Chris would be on the tip of my tongue as far as the name that was just going to fly out of my mouth. But in popular systems like Morkborg, a lot of folks riffed on the same core color palette and pun palette. Chris adventures stand out, and this is what I wrote: like a sparkling blue gem and a pallid pail of piss. I love Morkborg's third-party community, but Chris manages to surprise and delight with unique visuals, and my character licked a frozen demon statue, almost died pulling their tongue off, and then got body swapped with the baddie. We made it into, I think, 4 rooms of this much larger dungeon, but there's a labyrinth inside that has incredibly crisp mechanics. I absolutely love when I get a chance to play with Chris. Also, Sean F. Smith almost always runs when we play with Chris, because Chris just wants to play. And Chris, it's really fun because Chris has just some memory issues. So usually is often like times we'll be like, did I write that? Or are you just jamming in that when Sean is running? And it's always kind of a toss up. But Troll King was great, but Into the Blue Light really stood out with the labyrinth mechanic that's in the adventure as just tremendous. And again, the visual design and aesthetic that Chris brings is super top notch. And so, Kegan, what's your next one?
Yeah, my next one is 9 Lives to Valhalla. Okay, I've said this before. 2022 was the year for gym room games, as far as I'm concerned. 9 Lives Valhalla is a crown on top of an absolute highlight of a year. It's death metal Viking cats fighting for their spot in Valhalla against ghosts, giants, death, and the very concept of like having a GM'd game. I honestly can't think of something you could want like more in an RPG than what they brought.
I had a blast playing this. So we, like I said, we eliminated overlap. This was on my list originally also too. But I specifically shouted out, I also love that you can challenge the GM to kill them and take over the game, which I did to Dan in our actual play on the channel. But we also used it to surprise Mads in the middle of a stream and kill Mads as the interviewer. I overthrew Mads, and I think people had to use like a ton of bonuses in the chat to help eventually let Mads overcome me, because Mads was running so badly, and I had to host like half of the second interview, which I was not supposed to do. But it is fun because if you do it, you end up in this really weird space of, I don't actually know what to do right now. And so, yeah, it was just super, super good. Oh, Dan missed it. So somebody needs to clip it for Dan. Yeah. And so, but yeah, it's so good and such a great year for Gym Room Games. Hoping they have a great 2023, as well. Sarah, after 9 Lives of Valhalla, we've got your next one.
Yeah, so I'm gonna preface like this game. We got the stream set up with the writer Brian Sago, and like the best way I can describe this game is I got to play a conjoined twin, and still like win, and that's the magic of Butter Princess. It's just you're at the Minnesota State Fair, you're trying to steal a butter sculpture, and that's the setup. The setup is simple. The setup is plain, but the playing of it and the hijinks as you go through that is anything but plain and simple. I think this was actually the first game that I had ever played with that play to lose, only one will survive kind of mechanic. And immediate huge fan. Just the descent into like chaos and horror was phenomenal. It was very, very good. I got to play with some of my favorite people, which always makes it better. And it's one that I want to get my like real group of friends together and play constantly as we just ruin every state fair from now to the end of time. But it was a lot of fun. It was very easy to sit down and just go. I think character creation was like 5 minutes, if that. There was a little character creator deal. It was just truly, again, a very accessible game to get to immediate hijinks.
Did you have your physical copy there also too?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, hold it up again so that people can see it, because it is designed like a Minnesota State Fair physical artifact also. Like
it's phenomenal. The art in it is great. It's got like the vibes are immaculate. It doesn't get better. It's so good.
Mike Martins is the visual designer of that, and Brian did all the words and stuff. Yeah, just absolutely phenomenal pairing. Also, Brian did so much like sculpted a bust and butter during the campaign. Yes. Like just everything about it is so good. If you have gastronomical lines or veils, don't play it. But like, what a game! What a game!
Yeah.
And so. Awesome. All right. Next up after Butter Princess, my next one is The Factory, which is by Stella Conry and Thomas Novosel did the art. Stella's a maestro of minimalist machinations and developed the first pamphlet adventure for Through the Void, our house sci-fi system. It's a demon planet bleeding itself back to life, but it's got some like it's a demon planet, so there are like some very like low level supernatural undertones, but we got to play it this year. I got to run it for part of a local convention that was hosted at an Episcopal church, and we played it in the sanctuary on the altar, and I GM'd from the pulpit while all the players got to process their religious trauma and commune with the giant pulsing heart of a planet through stigmata-like wounds, which I think perfectly showcased the toolbox approach that Through the Void embraces with like high narrative ability with low power characters. Thomas's art just absolutely slays with this, and Stella's writing is absolutely phenomenal. But for me, it was the experience. Like, it was all Philly creators who I got to play with. It was a local convention. It was the weird, we leaned heavily into like making the non-diegetic elements diegetic. There was just a lot of stuff pumping into it. And so like, I absolutely love it. We produced it in-house, but it really was that experience of play that drove home like, shit, this is so much fun, in addition to Stella and Thomas's collaboration. And so like, it just is absolutely phenomenal. And I can't wait to play it again, because there's like, they got TPK'd because they went like straight to the heart, but they also all survived because like they got reprinted and mind controlled and sent back out to bring more people back to the planet to get fed. So, and they all totally leaned into it. So just super, super fun. Kegan, what's the next one on your list?
The final one on... Oh, wait, no, it's not the final one. I can't count. Next one on my list is Cyber Metal 2012 by World Champ Game Co. You get to sacrifice Ronald Reagan and summon the devil. I mean, what else do you want in an RPG? Truly has some of the sickest art you can see in a game. And it's the, I guess, technically second entry in the Death Agents role-playing timeline series, which I'm dumb excited about. Yeah, just another incredible game.
Did you see the mall crawl that Adam just announced that's going to be compatible with it?
I did. I'm very excited about it.
It is so good and looks so amazing. I cannot wait. Super, super excited about that one as well. Sarah, what's your next one?
My next one is Justicar by Nevin Holmes. No sequence of words could have prepared me for the Justicar experience, because it is the setup for the play, getting your courtroom set up, getting all the different roles assigned from the stand to like the defendants and everything, and then the moment to moment unfolding of the story. Like Again, I'm speechless about it, because there's just no way to really describe how rewarding it is. Like it feels like you've got a box of things that you shake up, pour on the floor, and then you create a narrative that somehow makes sense in the end.
I mean,
all
Sarah,
the while,
but part of that is you literally had a box of costumes that you shook
I
up,
literally
dumped
had a
on the
box of
floor,
costumes.
and
I was just like,
switched
I'm gonna
out.
need this at some point. But yeah, but it's that it has that fun role playing element where you have the stand, which is just everyone in the courtroom. It's all the witnesses. It's all this whatever, and there's one person who plays that. As someone who plays these games for the role play aspect, this felt like a love letter to me. This felt like a gift that was given to me, your good friend Sarah specifically, because it was that opportunity to just say random shit that was on this board that we put together, and having to watch my friends deal with the consequences of it was everything. Like I've not played a game like it. I don't think I'll play a game like it ever again, because I don't know how you can kind of capture the atmosphere of, like, I think, what was it? We had a singing salamander who, like,
It was a
staged her own.
salamander.
It was vague sci-fi. So uplifted salamanders were people. Yeah, my favorite part of that one was Aaron King kicking in some midstream art that was the the salamander with castanets in its hand performing live, which is very good.
The way,
I wanna
right,
say-
and go for it.
Justicar was also one of my top games, and I was
Yeah,
told
go ahead and kick in, Kegan.
I couldn't overlap, but it's truly a masterclass in game design.
It's
One of those fun times you'll have
so
playing
good.
a game. Yeah, everyone in the chat's right. Just go get it. Go play it.
And then one other thing, because I just want to plug it, the secret connections between characters that you set up behind the scenes from it, behind everyone else, getting that say in what your characters' like flaws, phobias, desires are, was like phenomenal. Loved that piece, because again, it felt like this kind of like you're poking at your friends, but it all works out in the end, and it's magic. And sometimes a salamander fakes her own death. It is what it is.
And we had vague Judge Dredd meets Nickelodeon Double Dare vibes to our courtroom, if I recall correctly.
Had a Klondike bar
Oh my
DoorDash to his home.
It was that game, wasn't it?
It was that game. I had
game.
to set up the judges, like what would you do? Like, there was a truth about the judge, and I DM'd Tony on the side, and I said, your character would do anything for a Klondike bar.
Instacart and ordered Klondike bars, and I expressed them so they would get here while we were on stream.
Was everything to me, and the fact that this game was a vehicle for that moment, special place in my heart forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Oh my gosh. I would do anything for a Klondike bar. That's just a car. Go check it out. My next one is both the Between as well as the Between Ghost of El Paso. I got to play both of them this year. Both are by The Gauntlet by Jason Cordova. The Ghost of El Paso has another co-author who I will make sure gets properly credited on this slide before we post it out on social media. But it's well documented that I love Jason's design, and many of the structural elements of the Between have seeped into the way that I do design work. Jason's also a tremendous GM. But I got to play with Sean Smith and Max Lander, who are two people who I just adore playing with, who I have good rapport with, who I've gotten to get into really deep moments on stream or explore a lot of horror space games with, which meant that I was really capable of going up to my lines in play, like places I wouldn't necessarily always feel comfortable going with my character, because I knew no one was going to push me anywhere I didn't want to go in that moment. And I loved the moment in play specifically that Max and I had in a cathedral, where I was playing this like young person, like tortured by their humanity, and they were playing a beautiful immortal tortured by their divinity, and we were in the back of an Episcopal cathedral, like trying to not overindulge in our harm or our vices, and just trying to have a moment of connection with each other. And it was just such a tremendous thing. But a lot of the different pieces, especially the unseen, the Between does is great. And the tonal differences between Ghost of El Paso and the Between core game are absolutely amazing, just to see how small narrative and writing choices, even though the core mechanics are the same, create tremendous shifts in the feeling of scope and scale for the two games. So the Between and Between Ghost of El Paso were top of my list for 2022 as far as play experiences go, for sure. Awesome. And then next up we got Kegan. This is, I believe, your last one.
This one's my last one. Yeah, my final one is Down We Go by Marcus Linderum. Yeah, so it's an OSR game with rules that are light enough to fit on a single spread. You come into Down We Go unaware of exactly how much mechanical depth Marcus was able to hide in like such a small amount of space. It's easily one of the hottest titles released in the last few years, and the community that's popped up around it's been really cool. We've gotten a lot of like extremely cool spin-offs. I mean, we talked about Death Grind and Megastructure, but like Memory Hunter was also really good. And we're seeing more dungeons made for it, and yeah, it's really having its moment right now. I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
I'm excited for it to get to people. The only reason I think Memory Hunters wasn't on my list is because we haven't played it, which, Ray, we just need to solve that problem in 2023. And so, but Memory Hunters is great. I gave a copy of Memory Hunters to Girls Run These Worlds, which is an actual play stream we met at PAX, and they were like floored by it and were messaging me about it like as they were reading it on the way like home. And so I'm very excited to be able to get it to them and get it to other people also too. And so we got some cool stuff we're doing with Ray and the Together We Go space this year also too. Cool. After Down We Go, we've got Sarah's last one, and that's Full Court.
Yeah, it's Full Court. Full Court's a game about two things: basketball and speed. And you're playing the world's greatest game of basketball. And it's a card-based game. So you have a deck of cards, everything's broken out into different quarters. And I feel like I have this personality trait when I play a new game and the rule system's a pretty like light one. It's not that I'm trying to break the game, but it is that I want to do the most buck wild shit I can think of. And this game was like perfectly designed to be able to do that. Like, you can do whatever you want and eventually it will make sense. As you're flipping through these cards, they give you different prompts that you just have to respond to on the fly. And some of them are incredibly like silly and dumb, and others are actually very insightful and deep. There were a couple of times as Kegan and I were playing this game, I had to stop and be like, oh shit, that's a real feeling I'm feeling right now about my Necromancer basketball team trying to resurrect an eldritch horror from underneath the court through the interpretive dance that they're doing. Like, it just absolutely insane nonsense that all came together in the end. And it was playtime of was like 40, it was like an hour maybe. Like, it was really quick. And like that to me, as far as like role-playing games goes, is a rare thing to have something that you can play so quickly. You can cover off on silly and insightful all in the same game and like have it all wrapped up and done in time to like go grocery shopping or whatever. It was truly special. Loved Full Court.
I feel like a really nice thing, and this isn't necessarily just Full Court. Full Court was the first game we got to play together as like Cult EXE.
Yeah.
And that was just such a special moment. That felt like
it really was.
Big.
It truly was. And I think a lot of these, like playing all of these games here on Plus One, like I'll get sentimental about it. It was really cool to like participate with like different folks in the community, getting to meet people through either their own games or their friends' games, or just jumping on because the game sounded fun. And getting to explore all these different ideas, themes, tropes, spaces. Just really, really special. Full Court came out of nowhere for me because like the concept, I was like, a basketball game, like whatever. No, it's everything. It's so good. Please go get it. Play it with all your friends. Like, it's better than you could ever hope for.
It was really great for me for the same reason. Like, I watched y'all launch the stream, made sure everything was good. You got a little bit in, and then I went and I called my kids down for supper. And my youngest kid, who like is subscribed but does not watch, but just knows that some of their friends do. Which, if any of these friends are watching, hi, good to see you. Glad you're here.
Hi, Tony's kids friends.
But like, they came down and they were like, wait, how are you sitting at dinner right now?
I'm in two
because
places
you're streaming,
at one.
right? And I was like, I'm not. I don't have to. Like, the Cult launching this year was huge for me, mainly because I love y'all, and sharing the channel with y'all like is truly like just tremendously amazing. I'm so glad y'all are here, but also like being able to kind of take that step back and see something that you started live beyond you is a huge thing for me that I've kind of always tried to commit myself to. And having people you can kind of explicitly trust to just do as Sarah would say, dope shit on stream is literally just such a dream come true. So it's been an absolutely tremendous thing to see happening here on stream. So that was Full Court, a tabletop game of impossible speed. The last one we're going to talk about, I think, is Slayers. Slayers Almanac also too. It's a phenomenal game of monster hunting across an endless city of diverse districts. It was given new breath this year as Spencer invited 10 other creators to develop districts for this award-winning game with asymmetrical classes. We all chose third-party Final Fantasy classes that were created by other people, not Spencer, for our actual play of it. We fought cultists and demons before we bullied our way to an asparagus dinner. I don't think we followed the plot Spencer had at all for that game. We just refused to move, and we're like, there's an empty house here. There was a crime that happened outside of it. The person next door just got home with groceries, and there's some asparagus sticking out. That's all that's happening now. And Spencer, I believe, did have to move the demon to where we were in order to end the game. But I literally stopped dead laughing a number of times during the game. We got to play with some of my favorite people, along with people who I had never played with before, which is my favorite thing. When I get one or two people, it's like I've got great rapport with you, and then we've got one or two people where I'm like, you're totally new, and we're gonna get to play something cool. But it was a very, very fun game. It's always enjoyable. Spencer writes very elegant, easy to understand games, and the third party stuff that's popped up around that, and the fact that we could all play classes that were inspired by Final Fantasy 14 classes translated into it was also just a very cool thing to do. So the Slayers Almanac and Slayers itself, the reprint of it, took my last spot for most fun game this year. We were talking earlier, it's hard because we're very good at games, and so we have fun a lot of the time when we play. So picking the most fun moments, the games that we like best, it was really, really hard. We almost canceled the stream earlier because we realized all the games are actually good. All the games are good, and we had a hard time picking. So just getting down to part of the reason we didn't want overlap was because it let us get as many games as possible.
Correct.
But again, I'd love to hear from you, chat. If you have a favorite moment at your table from this year, a favorite moment on stream, a favorite game that you got a chance to play, I would love to hear it in chat. Just some of your favorite stuff. We'll shout a couple of those out as we go. But I just want to just get some quick observations. A lot of cool games came out this year, like we were just talking about. A lot of interesting things happened in indie RPGs. Not looking for hot takes, but Kegan Sarah, we're gonna take some time to talk about interesting trends we saw this last year. I told Kegan and Sarah we were gonna do this right before we went live. So since Sarah's especially nervous about this, Kegan, why don't you go first?
Okay, cool. So we're looking at trends for the
trends
coming year.
That you noticed, things you saw, interesting things in the scene this year.
Yeah. I got you. Yes, we did see a lot of, I feel like, story games having really cool moments. We got just a lot of really good stuff like Justicar that I don't think we would have seen in the space even like a year ago. Those had a moment. I think Hex Maps really had a moment. This is another area where Gym Room Games really just sort of killed this space. They put out 12 different Hex Maps this year, maybe 13. But we were seeing a lot of those this year. It was a cool trend.
Yeah. Justicar and Slow Knife, which I got to play in quick succession with each other, really drove here. This was the year of the Miro board in a lot of ways. We had seen some people playing around with it
100%.
in 2021, but that Torque, a lot of other games were hey, how do we take some basic tools like Miro board and create digital play spaces? Think about things we might do in physical spaces like tracking different things and do that. In our Apocalypse Keys home session, we got a board and popped it up, and so we could track all the different elements of our threat and mystery for that. But it was very much the year of the, hey, if we're not all in the same space and can use a cork board, let's pop up a mirror board and do that. The other one was we saw a lot less incremental mothership releases this year because Hull Breach and First Edition kind of pulled a lot of those into one major project. We saw, there was still plenty of great mothership stuff that came out, and a lot of it just got condensed down. We got
Pound of Flesh, which is one of the nicest looking mothership modules.
We did.
I just need an excuse to yell about real quick.
But it was very interesting with all those people kind of focusing on some singular projects. We didn't, but even within that, blood fields and some other stuff. And I think especially because a lot of creative energy went into first edition, there were a lot of people whose eyes were attracted to it for the first time. And then Hull Breach kind of came after that and consolidated a lot of the well-known writers. It created space for people who were just stepping in to Mothership to try really cool things. So we got stuff like blood fields out of that as well. And so Sarah, any cool hot takes for you?
I mean, I feel like a lot more embracing the chaos. Like, I think a lot of this is just me, a trend for Sarah of being able to find games that meant that I could just like do buck wild shit and be rewarded for it. But it felt like a lot more games were more accessible to that, right? Like, it was just, do you want to have hijinks with your friends? Here you go. Here's so many different ways you can do it. You want to be an old lady solving a murder? Yeah, great, do it. You want to be like Torque, you want to be bandits roaming the surface of the world in cars? Great, do it. Like, it felt like anything that you wanted to do and anything that you wanted to do and have it dialed to 11. There was like, and here you go nuts. And that I really like that for myself and everyone, because more chaos, more fun.
Awesome. If anybody else has any more thoughts, toss them out. Again, if you have thoughts in the chat, let's hear them also too. Real Meat Castle says, I love getting to run a game and play on +1 with y'all. The slow knife was so much fun and a breath of fresh air to play, and had a blast being on to run the blood fields at Black Star Station. Kegan's unofficial 6th entry into favorite games played this year. But I think one of the other things that that kind of really stood out to me this year, I started talking slower because my brain totally forgot what it was.
Oh no.
I'm looking for something, so I'm not even vamping for you right now.
One of my favorite things was
there were a bunch of games I didn't get to list just because I didn't have space, but Bloodfields was one of them. Speed Rune was one of them. Killer Ratings was,
oh my gosh, Killer Ratings
honestly
so
a blast, and I forgot I played it before I made this list, and I might have put it in the top 5 had I remembered.
Oh man, I just lost it again. It was there. It was back for a second. Now it's gone again.
Good luck and Godspeed, Tony. Good luck and Godspeed.
Awesome. So we are going to be back, like I said, in a couple of weeks with some of the games we're looking forward to next year. A lot of them we played this year while they were in funding or in beta, other stuff like that, but they're releasing next year, so we'll have kind of them on our anticipated list for the year. But it's just things we want to get to the table, games we're looking forward to playing. Some of them may be games that released late in the year that we're very excited to finally get a chance to sit down and play, or things that we know are coming out next year that we haven't even had a chance to play. So we've already started generating that list. If you're interested in hearing about those games, again, we're going to be doing that in 2 weeks. I'm very, very excited about all those things. We have a lot of really cool projects coming up as well this year. Kegan is going to keep on working on Blister City. We've got Through the Void that's coming out this year. We've got Campfire Scouts that's coming out this year. We've got my goal for the year is to release 28 games through +1 that are designed by other people, not us, not in-house games, just small indie designers and creators. The best way that you can support us with any of that is going to our website and just buying one of those cool games for those creators. Also, the money goes to support them as well, but it keeps Business Daddy happy, which lets us keep on printing games. And I think late next week, or maybe it'll be a birthday sale for me since my birthday is coming up on January 10th. We're gonna basically have everything that we had at PAX will be up on the site and available for a week. Woo! Even it was stuff that was only available at PAX. So because we had a few physical releases that were unique, but I am very excited. Derek, Trophy is going to be very quickly played here now that the physicals are out. I have gone to look out my door no less than 4 times today, just hoping there would be a package outside, and there is not yet. And so, but Clover RPG just showed up and said, Clover RPG just showed up and said, "What games talk did I miss?" We're going to recap all of it real quick for you. But yeah, tons of great stuff coming up. So keep an eye out for that. I am going to be out of town next week, and I don't know that the Cult has anything planned in the next week and a half.
We're working on getting our next episode of Character Study scheduled. So that'll be in the first couple of weeks of January.
8th,
yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. So we have January 8th confirmed. We just don't have a time. Yeah, but we're bringing Ostermad on to talk to her and the games, and I'm really excited about it. I love character study. It's my favorite thing that we do. And I can't wait to talk to more people about the cool shit that they do and like and play.
Awesome. Love it. And Jeff Stormer, I would love more of Redacted. Please get me those, and we'll get them up in the store as well. I do have some left, but would love more. Pretty much all the games we talked about, except for Justicar, Hack the Planet, and a couple others, you'll be able to pick up at the Plus One site also. But almost all the creators have their itch store, so if you're just interested in digital, please go do that. I will update the description with links sometime in the next week, probably. And so
I'm on it.
That was not a subtle.
No,
it's
fine, Tony. I'll do it. I'm not doing anything better.
But the other thing I would love you all to consider, if what Plus One does to you, if it matters, we don't do a big push on this often, but we would love for more people to support us over on Ko-fi or Ko-fi or however you want to pronounce it. There's a link down below. We'll probably about to redo the whole thing, but a lot of it will be oriented towards really helping support the cult and the work that it's doing. Business Daddy pays me a full-time job with healthcare benefits, which is great, but we would love to start bringing more just financial equity to our cult team, specifically Kegan, who does put in a lot of behind the scenes work. So if you're able to go support us over there, purchase something in the store, any of that kind of stuff, they're all great ways to support what we do here. But if you can't do any of those, that's not the only way to support us. Sharing the work that we do, videos you love, making clips, being here and being in the chat means the world to us, because we don't do this to just hear ourselves talk. We do this to be able to engage a community of support and care around indie RPGs, and hopefully make more sustainable pathways for creators to be able to get their games to people. So again, anything you can do, please feel free to, even if it's just tuning in and being here with us on stream. Kegan, Sarah, any end of year thoughts y'all want to toss out?
We also have it's vaguely been announced. We also have the Plus One EXP podcast during in January.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Which is again one of those things Kegan is doing behind the scenes, and a lot of us, you have told us, hey, I can watch video stuff sometimes. I listen to podcasts all the time. So the more support we can get over on Ko-fi, the more bandwidth I'll be able to give Kegan to be able to upload more and more of both our back catalog as well.
I can replace my hard drive finally.
But yeah. So podcast, I know y'all have wanted one forever. Yes. That is
I'm taking care of you. I have a number of episodes ready to launch.
So. Let's go.
Sarah, anything from you?
I would just say, like, if we're closing out the year, just an immense sense of gratitude for the Plus One as like a space, for Tony, for Kegan, for the cult. It's been really rewarding to spin up the cult and see all the support coming out of it and the interest in starting conversations between designers and players, and getting to be a part of that, and getting to know more people in the community, seeing the great things that they're making, writing, playing. So overwhelmingly grateful to find this wonderful little corner of the internet and of the game space, and so excited for what everybody's making in the next year. Can't wait.
Awesome.
Well, not to get emotional on stream, but this has been a really nice thing to be able to do.
Yeah. I like it.
That's the most you all are getting out of me.
Awesome. As soon as you said not to get emotional, I popped the end of scene graph up and it turned off the stream. No one saw it. Don't worry.
Amazing.
Cool. Thank you so much.
No, again, super excited. If you're a creator watching right now and you're like, this was great, why didn't they talk about my game? Or this is great, I wish I could get my game on the stream. You can. You literally just need to reach out to us, share your game with us. Most creators think, oh, my game's nowhere near ready to play. That may be the case. That is the case sometimes. Overwhelmingly, big AAA studios will send me stuff that is like a loose Google Doc, whereas and be totally unashamed of where their game is at in development, versus a creator who has an 80% done project who's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that it's the final art isn't at play. You are being harder on yourself than you need to. If the game isn't ready for streaming yet, we'll give you that feedback ahead of time. There's zero reason not to reach out. We just want to see you succeed and help you share your game with cool people. So please, please, please reach out. Let us know. Very excited to see y'all in 2023. We don't have a good way to end these streams, so until next time, we're just going to wave at the camera until I take
Enjoy
us
your
off air.
pizza.
Have fun. Enjoy your pizza.
ttrpg.link